Hi, welcome to Leading with Spirit. I'm Larry Buxton. Have you ever blurted out the very thing you vowed you wouldn't, or done the very thing you knew you shouldn't? When we feel like we just can't help ourselves, that's when we know we're running low on the virtue of restraint. And truth is, there's no way to live a life of character and integrity without learning to just say no. Now, it's true, restraint is a pretty hard value to come by these days. It's not a popular trait. We think if we can do it, we should. And where does that leave us? Hey, the whole Jurassic Park horror series is based on scientists' lack of restraint. But we don't want to reduce complex social and political issues into movie simplicity. But, the root of all the troubles faced by all of today's scandalous people, Boris Johnson, Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell, Kalima Valieva, and her skating coach Eteri Tutberidze. It's all about their lack of restraint. And it can be different. There's a chapter in King David's story that opens with him running for his life. David isn't king yet, Saul is, but King Saul and his army are afraid of David, rightly recognizing him as a popular threat to Saul's crown. So Saul and 3,000 men set out to kill David, and they chase him throughout the mountains west of the Dead Sea. But then spies tip off David where Saul and his troops are encamped. And under cover of darkness, David and two accomplices slip into the king's camp undetected. They find their way to Saul, who's sound asleep and vulnerable. And David's sword bearer whispers, "Just one thrust and I can kill him. David, say the word." And David's tempted. But this man of God restrains himself and his companion. Instead, David takes Saul's spear and water jar, and they slip out. And in the morning on a nearby hill, David yells across the ravine and awakens Saul and his guards. He embarrasses the soldiers for their dereliction of duty by displaying the proof that he'd been inside their defenses, the spear and the water jar. He had clearly refrained from taking Saul's life. And David's restraint sends Saul to his knees, apologizing and expressing his thanks. And then Saul breaks camp and goes back home. David's restraint gets him exactly what he wants, and in a better way. You can read more about this story and other examples of leadership in my 30 Days with King David on Leadership, available from Amazon. It's a great book for personal reflection and group discussion. But saying no to your gotta-have-it impulses is never easy. But often, like in Saul's cave, our better impulses find a spirit-given support and reinforcement. God helps those who can't help themselves. God's presence, in other words, can strengthen us ethically to choose the good and refrain from the bad. So whether you're religious or not, leadership is always a spiritual journey. And leadership with integrity requires getting clear about your weak spots, confronting your excuses, and learning when and how to ask for help. Maybe you're at a similar crisis point or decision point right now. The good news is you can strengthen your restraint muscles. Find spiritual help. It may be within you in a spirit, or it may be around you in a friend. But you can live a life of character and integrity when you discover and claim the ability to just say no. I hope you'll like and subscribe and pass along this video, more of which can be found on larrybuxton.com. As always, thanks for watching, and God bless you.